All right, what's going on, everybody, on Facebook? Welcome into the Rant. Caden's out today on vacation. Jacob Toby alongside Tulsa World Sports columnist. Vacation, right? A little bit?
It's like a big week.
Yeah, I don't know. He's on vacation. He's in Texas somewhere.
Oh, is he?
Yes, yes, he is. He's spending time with his family, well-deserved. He's a hardworking guy. Bill Haston, Tulsa World Sports columnist, and we are days away, 6 days away from OU Alabama. Thoughts heading into this week? It's game week.
I mean, it is game week.
Yep.
And it's so it's not a weird game week where the game's on a Thursday and you start trying to count down the days. And, you know, it is a true game week with the game being on Saturday. I don't know. I wish I knew. I saw some footage last week, Jacob, of Tua working out down in Tuscaloosa. Looked pretty good, didn't he?
He did.
His footwork looked nice.
He said he's okay, too.
He seemed, you know, pain-free. He moved beautifully, says he's okay. I wish I knew exactly what the status of Marquise Brown is, because he's kind of the counter.
And no one's really talked about that yet.
Well, it should be talked about because it's a massive factor, because if Marquise Brown's at 70 or 80% like he was for a month during the regular season, he's still going to get some catches, and he's still going to be a factor. He just won't be that stretch the field factor that they really, really need him to be. So I would love to know what the status of Marquise is going to this ball game. But my thoughts are, you know, it's, I mean, I've been studying the history of big games in which OU was an underdog. And there's not many of them, because typically they're the favorite.
Of course.
But I mean, there is a history of OU being in this kind of a ball game, on this kind of platform, and being a significant underdog and finding a way to win. But the common denominator with those teams was typically they had a good defense, either a good defense or a great defense. Now we got this defense, which I don't even know what label to put on it, but substandard.
Yeah.
Let's call it that, to be kind on Christmas. So my thoughts on the game, I can't wait to watch it. I think it's the best possible matchup in the sport of college football this year, is this style versus that style. That coach versus this coach, Lincoln versus, you know, Saban. I think it's a fantastic matchup. I just don't know.
Quarterback versus quarterback.
Oh, no doubt.
Heisman winner.
The Heisman winner versus Heisman runner-up.
Yeah.
I mean, all of that. It's a sensational matchup. And can OU defensively look different, play different, be different, get different results? You know, they don't have to be defensively, they don't have to be great. They don't have to. It doesn't have to be a defensive performance for the ages. It just has to be something a little better than maybe what you saw at West Virginia. No, it has to be a lot better than West Virginia.
Yeah.
But you got to get some takeaways, is my point. You know what I mean?
Some of the plays that they saw in the Big 12 championship game, you're going to need some of that in this game coming up.
At least they were trending in the right direction.
Yes.
In West Virginia, and then in the Big 12 game. So now with almost a month, or right at a month, to prepare for the Crimson Tide. What do they look like now? I don't know.
Does that time off between the Big 12 championship game and this game hurt or help the defense?
No, it helps.
Help?
I mean, oh, yeah. Because you got to get all the, first of all, you got to get all the Heisman nonsense out of the way. You know what I mean? All those distractions, and you got to get your quarterback's head back in the right place after he's been running around getting trophies for, you know, a full week.
Here's a trophy. Here's another trophy.
That's right. and it's great for the university. It's sensational for the program to get those, to brand your program, Jacob, with Heisman trophies and any sort of significant national award. It's all important. But now you've had time subsequent to that to get everything back to normal, settled, and really, you know, install a game plan and get back to the business of preparing to try to beat the best team. This is not the best team OU's ever faced. Let's get that out of the way. No,
because there's been better defenses that Alabama's had in the past, for sure, right?
Oh yeah.
You know that covering the sport.
No, let me. Now, granted, you'd have to go back a ways, but I mean, like, older OU fans would agree with me that, I mean, OU went to Lincoln, Nebraska, and beat some Nebraska teams that I think were at least as good as this Alabama team, if not better. Okay. But like I say, you have to go back to the fact that OU in those years was sensational defensively, with lots of NFL personnel on that side of the ball. So that's the beauty of this game. You just don't know what to expect from that side. Will they be, you know, way beyond where they've been at any point this season?
Well, it's going to depend on that guy.
Oh, no, he's the
like it normally does, though,
the
right? He's used to this type of pressure.
That's right. He's the most important man in the ballpark, and if this happens to be his final football game of his life, you think he's going to want to go out, with only the
I'm not convinced it will be his final football game.
I hope it's not. I hope he plays football.
Caden feels the exact same way, too.
Yeah.
Caden feels the exact
I
same way.
want to see him play football. I want to see what that looks like.
Of course.
I want to see if
especially seeing Baker's success in the NFL.
Right. I want to see if a 5'9" kid at that level of speed, with Lamar Jackson's speed and a way better arm.
Yeah.
I mean, what's Lamar Jackson doing? He's tearing everybody up.
He took Joe Flacco's starting job.
I didn't think that would happen. Did you?
Not a lot of people did.
I didn't.
Yeah.
So I want to see Baker Mayfield be succeeded in the NFL by a successful Kyler Murray.
Well, what a story that would be. Lincoln Riley gets 2 guys into the NFL.
Amazing.
Doing well. If OU loses this game, is the season a failure in your eyes? No.
It's a disappointment for a lot of people who are championship or bust.
Yeah.
But no, I don't know how Bob Stoops said he put a great value on winning the Big 12 championship. And I think there is great value in winning the Big 12, just like there is in winning the Heisman or any number of awards or distinctions. If you can put at the top of your press release every week 38 conference championships or whatever it is at Oklahoma, it's like 40-something conference championships. 4 straight. Yeah, and 4 straight. Yeah. Unprecedented 4 straight. No. There's no way. It's if you get a Heisman, a Big 12 championship, and you go back to the playoff for the 3rd time in 4 years, no way that's a bust. If you don't get to the championship game for the first time in those 3 trips to the college football playoff, sure, everybody's going to be disappointed. Lincoln Riley at the front of the line on disappointment, but a failure. No way. No, it's been a strong season.
Okay, finish this sentence for me. If OU wins this game, it will be because of
Kyler Murray. That's easy. Kyler Murray.
I kind of gave you an easy one there. I'll be honest.
No, the combination of Kyler Murray and maybe some clever new stuff from Lincoln Riley. Just stuff that you
weird stuff that we didn't even think he'd have in the bag. He's so good anyway. We think he has everything, but he definitely has stuff that people haven't seen.
The greatest characteristic of any play caller is if at least once a week you're like, oh, you're surprised.
Yeah.
And so we'll see how many times he can surprise us and Alabama.
All right, we'll see if they can win on Saturday. Coming up is a semifinal game between Oklahoma and Alabama. Let's move on to Oklahoma State. You had an article a couple days ago about Mike Gundy. Is he starting to burn out with his time at Oklahoma State? There's been a lot of talk about Mike Gundy and the stuff that he did this year in a 6-6 year for Oklahoma State, coming up on a bowl game versus Missouri in the Liberty Bowl. Your reactions from the people that you talked about?
Well, I mean, I don't know that Mike is burned out.
No, but I
know what Mike looks like.
And you saw him at the press conference.
Looked
and
you like
said,
last week.
Yeah.
He looked tired. He sounded a little defeated. Okay. He sounded a little deflated. I know that, and I wrote in the piece too, that Bedlam is an every day of the year deal for him. I mean, it's not only the game itself, in which he's 2-12 now, but it is the constant comparison of his program to the OU program, and the OU program has unbelievable advantages in funding and also in tradition. I mean, OU took football seriously 50-some-odd years before OSU got serious about it.
I mean, you're looking at some of the video right now of just some of the stuff that went on.
No, this is Happy Mike.
This year. This is Happy Mike, but also I've heard a lot on talk radio, and I'll mention a name. Jim Traber has said maybe Mike Gundy doesn't need to do as much funny stuff, funny business as he's doing in his press conferences. Your response to that is what?
Oh, just that it's okay to let your actual personality come through, but if anything starts to feel contrived ever, then it's too much. I don't know that, and there's not been anything except maybe when Mike took his shirt off at Gallagher-Iba last year that I thought was a little too much.
Okay.
It's just too much.
But that stuff doesn't bother you, the smoothie?
No, not really, no. I know
Mike. Shirt
I know Mike better than anybody in the media.
Of course.
And I'm telling you, he's got some funny he's got some funny layers to his personality and some clever layers to his personality. Like he cut a check to a DJ, a radio guy in Oklahoma City, a DJ, a sports talk guy at the Animal. Cut him a check to cover his losses on a gambling loss because he bet on OSU to win at least 8 games this year. Anyway, Gundy just seemed really, really tired to me last week. And I know he's tired of the transfers. He's lost Jalen McCleskey. He lost J.D. King. He's got Jordan Brailford leaving for the league. He's got Justice Hill not playing in the bowl and leaving for the league. That's
double whammy.
Oh, my goodness, absolutely. So I just think Mike, and he got his guts ripped out in Bedlam again.
Yep.
I mean, they're throwing it in the end zone to try to win Bedlam.
So he's
with
50,
a minute left.
He's 51. You mentioned Bob Stoops was 56 when he stepped down. Urban Meyer recently stepped down. He's 54.
Right.
So you're starting to get into that window where it may be a bit close.
Well,
I've kind
of buried the lead on why I even wanted to write the piece. But Jacob, Mike is 51. He has been coaching college football now for 29 years. It's a hard job. That's a hard job. That's every day. It's a lot of travel. It's a lot of scrutiny. It's a lot of stress. And, he's been a head guy now going into his 15th year. So I'm just saying, I'm not suggesting for a minute that he has taken a step back in his investment in the program, his caring about it, his wanting to win, his competitive fire. I just think he's a little tired. He looks tired to me. Looks really worn out. And I think this season has baffled him more than any other. This has been the most underachieving team he's ever had.
Yep.
And this is a 9-win team dressed up like a 6-win team. And they should have beaten TCU, Baylor, and Kansas State. And you'd have your 9 wins, and then a bridge between Mason Rudolph and the next quarterback, whoever that is, Sanders, I presume. We'll see. That 9 wins would have been a good year. And instead, you're stuck at 6 because this team made stupid penalties and didn't show up and was unmotivated for games that they lost but never should have lost.
You think how important is Spencer Sanders for Mike Gundy's next couple of years here?
Critically important for the obvious biggest reason, because he's the quarterback. He's a quarterback, and Gundy has been 53-12 in this decade when he had 2 NFL guys at quarterback, Brandon Weeden, Mason Rudolph. And when they've had mostly average college quarterbacks, he's gotten mixed results. So you need to establish the next franchise guy at that position, Jacob. And I tell you another reason why it's important in my mind for it to be Spencer Sanders, because he was the player of the year in the state of Texas last year, and you got it.
One of the most highly recruited guys in the country, and out of any position.
That's right. And for Mike Gundy to have signed him was a victory.
Yeah.
For Mike Gundy to develop him into a 3-year starter who has a run comparable to Mason Rudolph's, that's critically important too.
Those names, Brandon Weeden, Mason Rudolph, I hope Spencer Sanders may be the next guy in that line.
Absolutely.
Something else that Mike Gundy said in his last press conference, he wants to see an 8-team playoff.
Yeah.
Is that the best case scenario for the College Football Playoff Committee?
I don't want 16 and I don't want 4.
Okay.
I want 8.
You want 8?
I do.
Because?
It just makes the most sense. It's a massive spike in money for everybody if it's divided in the right way. You ensure that all 5 conference champions are involved. You ensure that at least one group of 5 team is involved, and then 2 deserving wild cards. I mean, to me, that is the model. And you play. Now, what does that mean? Do you dissolve the whole conference championship game format? I don't know. I would, but you play that first game immediately at the end of the season, and then everybody takes a breath, does the holidays, comes back for the semis and the championship after Christmas.
Okay.
That would be my model.
All right, 8 teams. Give me 8 teams. I'll take that any day of the week. Moving on, Thunder real quick before we get back to Sunday Night Football. Tied first in the Western Conference standings going into today. If we can roll those standings up on the big screen there. You take a look, Nuggets, Thunder, Warriors all tied atop of the West. They have been playing some excellent basketball, 4 wins in a row right now, trailing Minnesota 95-88 in the fourth quarter, but they have been playing.
What a weird game that's been.
Yeah,
but
they've been playing great.
Well, I mean,
after a tough loss to Denver a couple weeks ago.
Well, how about this? Since an 0-4 start, they're 21-6.
Yep.
It's pretty good. I mean, they've been,
yeah, it is.
Yeah, it is. Well, I mean, they're just night and day beyond where they were at this time last year because they've got a real identity. They've got a Paul George who's playing at the height of his powers. You know, in December of this year, he's averaging 31 points on 53% shooting.
The shooting's been amazing.
It's been amazing. He's shooting 45% on threes.
Yeah.
In December of 2017, when they had Carmelo and they had all those obligation touches that Carmelo had to have on the offensive end, and they weren't sure, and Westbrook wasn't sure what to do. You know what I mean? It was just they lacked an identity.
Yeah.
So in December of 17, Paul George averaged 20 points on 42% shooting. So, I mean, you said it yourself in the text to me today. We'll talk about Paul George as a possible MVP candidate.
Bring it up right now. That's the next question.
He is.
Should he be the MVP?
Well, he's 30 games in. It's too early to. I'd say.
We talked about it off camera. You stop the season right now. Your MVP is?
It's Paul George.
Okay.
Absolutely. And here's why, too. Because he's carried his team to the top of the Western standings at a time when Westbrook, there's no way you can convince me he's healthy. No way.
The shooting has been dreadful.
It has been, but think about it, Jacob. You play a lot of basketball.
Of course.
If you had an ankle that you rolled flat only a few weeks ago and a preseason knee surgery, you ain't going to be 100% by now. No way is Russell Westbrook. I don't care what kind of treatment he gets. I don't care what, that he is the ultimate at athleticism. There's no way that leg is good yet.
Yeah.
So, and it's got to be a big part of the explanation why his shooting is so dismal. But I'm just saying, Paul George has carried Thunder to the top of the West. Paul George, back-to-back 43-point games at
Pretty
Utah
impressive.
and Sacramento before tonight. And then the game at Brooklyn really kind of got it all started. You know, the 25-point quarter, the 47-point finish at Brooklyn. And from that point, Paul has pretty much sustained the best level of basketball of his career.
He's got 24, right? I mean, he's doing everything you want. He's also in contention for, I'd say, Defensive Player of the Year, too. He's
Absolutely.
one of the best, if not the best, perimeter defenders in this league. And you saw the stat on the screen right there. Through the last 9 games, 33, 8, 53 from the field, 47 from 3. Through the last 7 games, he's averaging 11 rebounds. What isn't he doing?
Well, you know what? While we're on the Thunder, we got to nod our heads real quick at Steven Adams.
Okay.
Best season of his career.
Yep.
By far.
Asked about if he cared about if he was going to the All-Star game. He said, I don't care, mate.
Yeah, and he probably doesn't. In fact, it would probably do him some good not to go and to get off his feet.
Yeah.
Because they play him too many minutes. But best season of his career, Jeremy Grant, when he was re-signed the day after Paul George, it was so under the radar.
Yeah.
It's so important, and he's developing right before our eyes. He gets better and better and better and better. And then we haven't even mentioned Dennis Schroeder. What a fantastic acquisition that turned out to be.
Yeah, he's
best
been
backup point guard they've ever had.
And maybe the best in the league, you could say,
Yeah,
easily.
absolutely. Certainly in the best of the 10 years with the Thunder, for sure.
All right, Thunder right now still trailing Minnesota 97-88, 6:48 to go in the fourth quarter. We'll leave you with this 14-10, Seattle up over Kansas City right now. Back to Sunday Night Football. Bill Haston from the Tulsa World, thank you so much for coming in.
Jacob, you've been here 5 months. Are you digging it? Do you like it here?
I like Tulsa. It's nice.
It's a good, I told you when I interviewed you
did?
before you got here, it's a good sports market, good football.
Sneaky good. People on the East Coast don't really know much about Tulsa. I'll go back and tell them all about it.
All right, cool.
Bill Haston, thank you so much for joining us on The Rant.